Hey, everybody, welcome once again to another episode of the Tipping Point Morning Show. Let's go ahead and let's get busy.
You are listening to The Tipping Point Show with your host, Mr. Just Ask Joe, John Yeah. Right here on WLOU. Streaming live on Facebook and WLOUonline.com. And now, The Tipping Point Show.
I like it.
What you think, bro?
Man, that's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I'm out here playing around. I'm getting good. Man, what's going on? It is yours truly, Mr. Just Ask Joe, my brother from another mother, Mr. Esoteric Concepts himself, Brother John. Yeah, how you doing there, family?
I'm awesome, brother. How about yourself this morning?
Oh man, I am absolutely fantastic. I just, it's funny, man. It's like you could be ripping and running, trying to make it happen, trying to get to the point, and man, I'm over here. I'm making coffee, putting all my spices in there, and I'm making my juice at the same time, bro. Hey, we having a conversation with the doctors today, so I had to get my insides right.
Oh, I just had a great juice this morning also. Awesome.
Oh man, what'd you put in your juice, brother?
Actually, I juice I love this dinosaur kale. I love the dinosaur kale. So I put dinosaur kale.
Ooh, that's a nice bitter taste.
Yes, and that's what you kind of want. You want that dark green. As you can taste the greenness in it. It's good for the brain. But that's the darkest kale that I could find. It's thick. When I do my juicing, so I juice the dinosaur kale, carrots. I do a slice of celery. If it's nighttime, I probably do 3 celeries because celery kind of calms you down. I put a lemon, piece of ginger, green apple, and some pineapple in there and roll with it.
That's what I'm talking about. Man. I got busy this morning, man. I got cucumber in here. I got carrots. I got pear. I got apple. I got kale. Man, is there anything? Oh, some orange. And a couple of the oranges I did leave on with the peel, and to get that oil, that oil in there. So man, good stuff here, man. I'm just beautiful. I love it, absolutely. And you know what's interesting, man? We're influencing a lot of people out there, even when it comes to this, man. We've had a few people that I know of specifically that have come to me and said, hey man, I'm getting my juicing going on, Brother Peter Hayes, you got Uncle Michon, a couple other brothers is hitting me up saying, hey, I'm getting my juicing on, man. I'm been watching y'all show, y'all talk a lot about it. I'm getting my juicing on, and that's beautiful, man, because that's all we here to do, man. We just want to inspire people and all that good stuff. So hey, what's up, Dr. No Job? What's up, family? What's going on, Phyllis Myers? Hey, what's going on, Queen? Man, I'm loving it. Absolutely loving it. How was your week, brother?
Man, my week has been busy, but it's exciting, because I love this new year. I love the fact that in springtime to me is a new year. It's about doing something different. It's about changing up, getting rid of the old shit, bouncing shit out, and looking for something new. With me here at the warehouse, creating a new laboratory, or I would like to call it my own little lab, but I'm also creating a spot where the production room for the oils and the car sprays that are coming out this summer. So, I'm excited about the new display that I'm working out with another company over in China. So, I think for myself, been doing this for 21 years. What keeps me excited is change. I love creating new fragrances, new smells, new names, and watching it because I get excited about it. I think that's one thing that keeps me live about this business, that I can change it up. So it's been a busy week for me, but very excited.
It's interesting, man, because you definitely get excited about this, man, and I love it. That's where we vibe. That's one of the places that we vibe. is with the idea of business, entrepreneurship, new ideas and things of that nature. You know, you usually will shoot me a picture and be like, hey, bro, I got the new display popping. Look at this. Hey, you know, and I see what you're saying, because you took the display, you made it it's bigger, it's way more appealing. People walk up to us like, oh man, what is this big green thing right here? And then boom, them colors, those are inviting colors there. Yeah. And then all the colors of your incense there, just more inviting colors, man. You gonna blow even bigger, brother. I'm telling you, all this talk that we talking about, having extra drivers and stuff like that. Watch,
love it.
Watch, it's crazy, brother. But man, I'm excited. This week for me has been great. Even when you start talking about production and stuff like that, I know I was talking with you the other day. I may be having you come over to a new spot to look at the ability of me taking some space and turning it into a production area in order to fulfill some product lines that we're creating. So I'm excited about that as well, man. So shout out to you, Miss Vanessa Simagan. She says, Joe, that's awesome. Appreciate you. Absolutely. Man, so today's show, you know, is exciting because here it is, folks. We are trying to have, in celebration of National Women's History Month, Dr. LaCreiss Kid. And let's see here. Let me switch that up a bit, because we had a couple of issues with that one there. So bada bing, bada boom, and bada bam. There we go. But yeah, absolutely. So we're gonna have Dr. Akmal on today. Yes. We're hoping to have Dr. LaCreiss on today as well. I'm believing that she's calling. As a matter of fact, Miss Vanessa, if you're still watching, if you could give her a shout out real quick, call her on the phone and make sure that everything is everything. So good stuff there. So again, Grand Rising, folks, you can see us from Facebook. You can see us from YouTube. I believe we kind of figured out some clearance on the Facebook page. I think what's happening is that our video guy, our website guy, him as an admin being able to go ahead and you know, set up our live allows for it to stream from the page because he is doing it. So either way, I'm excited about it. We kind of got a little bit of a Facebook workaround, which is good because y'all know we've been getting shadow banned, and you know, right now I know I'm shadow banned. You're shadow banned as well from Facebook. And when we say shadow banned, then we're talking about you know, they let us do some things, but they nix us on some live. They take our post, put it in a lower feed so people don't see it as much. So it's a trip, man. It really is a trip. But I wanted you to go back real quick, brother, and talk about the you said something about it bring spring. Yeah. And when I was growing up as a kid, it was all about spring cleaning. Like that was a thing. And that was something, you know, it's funny. I never heard it. I never heard, you know, on the other side of the railroad tracks talking about it. But on our side, it was all about spring cleaning. You know, you had to get rid of old stuff and bring in the new stuff, you know, clothes that didn't fit anymore. You know, mom's like, hey, you got box it up and all that good stuff. And then, you know, you get some new stuff. But there's a deeper meaning behind that. And I want you to kind of talk about that real quick. Shout out to you, brother Frank Stoner at Health Daddy Wow, chiming in there. Shout out to you, Latasha Navy Harrison. We're gonna be probably doing some business with the plug here soon. So we'll talk about that more later. We got Miss Keisha Williams. Shout out, Grand Rising, absolutely, and good stuff there. So, brother. Spring cleaning. What's that? What's the deeper meaning behind that? What's that all about?
Well, it's spring cleansing. When you talk about the health, when you talk about the cleaning, you know, you want to clean up everything around you. It's good for the soul. to always have to be able to get rid of the old and bring in some new.
But why spring? Is spring the real? I hear that it's the real New Year. What's that all about?
Well, that's when things come back to life. If you look at nature, grass is growing, your trees are blooming, budding, and everything. So it's like bringing new life. So it's like really like born again in the sense for springtime when life renews itself. But when you look at your body's always getting rid of the old, flaking off old skin, creating and building new skin. So when you talk about spring cleansing, this is the best time, and we're going to get with this conversation with Dr. Akmal. This is one of the best times to cleanse your body, to detox. And when I say detox, remind you that your body's always detoxing. You're just trying to help your body detox better. But during this season, this is the best time to really do a full body cleanse where you are cleaning your organs, your colon, your kidney, where you're doing this total cleanse to bring your body new again, to optimize your body to its optimal health and feeling better for this new year that's coming in. And then you ride it on through. And then sometimes some people do two cleanses a year, one in the winter and one in the spring. So I love the one in the spring. And I'm starting next week, actually Monday. I'm not that good at the winter's one because I'm trying to always eat to stay warm. You know, part of your eating food is to keep you warm. Certain foods in the summer, certain foods in the winter. And so, but in springtime, trying to getting rid of all the junk that you had the year before, the winter before. This is that opportunity to get rid of that. While at the same time, this cleansing, the cleansing the body, the cleansing of the home, and the cleansing of your personal self, meaning your friends around you or people who you call your friends, people who are not bringing you or uplifting you. You got to realize there are certain people that are dragging you down.
Out with the old and with the new, baby.
You got to cut them loose too. You got to cut people loose. You know? Cut it.
They made a song about it. Yeah. Hey, so listen, let me ask you a question. When you talk about detox, all right, what are the different ways that our body detox? You said that a second ago. You said that our body detox in many different ways, and I know a lot of them and probably know them all. But I want you to talk about it because I think a lot of people don't realize that when some of those detox points are off, then there's an issue that you should be paying attention to your body a lot closer, especially the primary detox is your bowel movements, right?
Yeah.
So what are the other ways our bodies detox?
You got your urine, you urinate. Your skin is an organ. It detoxes. It removes weight.
So you talking about like pimples and things of that nature coming out?
Yeah, sweating itself, pimples. When you got pimples, that's a sign something's wrong. You've been needing to detox. You kind of like late. When you start having that coming out your skin, you kind of a little late. You maybe want to let that come out on a smaller cellular level, like sweat. About time it becomes a pimple, you're probably weeks behind in trying to detox yourself. So
because traditionally, when you have a bowel movement per se, that's one way to detox. Now, I've always said that usually when you see people with some serious pimple, facial issues, stuff like that, then they probably have bad bowel habits. They're not releasing the toxins as often in the manner in which they should, whereas now the body has to release it in some way, shape, or form.
Correct. And
it's going to do it through the face, pimples. That's one of the things that stopped me messing with fast food as much, because I see somebody stick their head out the window with a whole bunch of pimples, and that just disgusts the hell out of me. But hey, guess what? We do have our amazing guest here in the studio with us. So, brother, can we bring her in?
Bring her on in. Let's get this started.
Well, let's go ahead and bring her in, folks. Without further ado, I want to go ahead and bring on Dr. LaCreiss Kidd, who is just absolutely one of the most amazing people that I know. Honestly, she's an amazing person. So we just want to bring her on, and she's gonna have a little bit of talk. John, I know you got some intros with some letters and numbers and stuff. Let's go ahead and PhD and MPH. Look at it, she got it there already. PhD and MPH. Please, Dr. LaCreiss Kid, can you just let people know real quick, as if they didn't know, who you are, what you are, and I honestly would like to know what MPH means. I don't know. I'll be honest. I'm sorry.
Sure. Thank you so much for having me, and really happy to be here and to share. I am Dr. LaCreiss Kidd, and I am an associate professor at the University of Louisville. I've been here for 18 years come August. It's been a very interesting journey. I guess I'll tell you a little bit about my educational background. I attended a historically Black college in Atlanta, Georgia, Spelman College. After that, I went to MIT, where I got my doctorate or my PhD in toxicology, looking at food-derived carcinogens or cancer-causing agents. And after that, I decided to work on my master's of public health. So that just allows me to perform human studies to try to understand the genetics as well as just environmental factors that contribute to the development of cancer.
So what wakes you up every morning that has you going in to do this, especially as a specialty? What makes you say, I'm gonna get up and I'm gonna go and I'm gonna focus on saving some lives? There's a lot of people out there that just decide, you know what, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna just save my life and that's it. I ain't worried about nobody else. What makes you focus the way that you do?
Man, I do wear a lot of hats.
Yes, you do.
People say that I'm a superwoman, so I don't know. Maybe I just I push that aside. No, I'm not superwoman. I'm just a woman.
That's right.
But,
we see your cape though.
My girlfriend of mine, she was like, "No, you're a superwoman. How do you do all the things that you do?" I don't know, but I want to say back in, I think it was 2010, I literally heard this voice from God, or in whatever you want to call it, but it said, serve the people. And I didn't really know what was meant by that. And I started doing things here and there. And then I heard that voice again in 2013. And from that point forward, I'm like, okay, I'll go serve the people. So I educate in terms of how to cook healthy. So you'll see me when I'm in the kitchen, I'll just flip on my camera and just share. I try to encourage women to take time out to take care of themselves. I'm really big into self-love, self-care, from hair care, face care, and then more recently body care. I don't know how I do what
you may not always realize it. Sometimes I don't think, all of us sometimes may not realize how we influence other people sometimes, but I was in Atlanta last weekend and we were having a conversation about how amazing you are, because there was, I believe, some grandkids of Bud's that I was, because we were out there last weekend doing some filming with Hype Vision. Shout out to Hype Vision Studios. And there's a brother there who his name is Tory.
Tory Anderson.
Tory Anderson, yeah. And he was just just nothing but gratitude to you, especially. And we just talked about, and one of the things we did talk about, we said, man, she and this whole self-care and everything, she looks so young and so amazing. But one of the things he did say, he said, man, she took care of my grandfather, and we love her so much for that. So but you wear many hats, like you said, and if you can kind of talk about those, because you recently got some new hats, I think, or at least a new hat or a new accolade or something. Isn't that right, John? We were talking about that recently, right?
Yeah.
Recently, I accepted a position as the assistant dean of research diversity at the University of Louisville. This position, it sits in the School of Medicine. So,
and you are the first?
Yes, I am the first assistant dean of research diversity.
The first.
There's a lot of pressure, to make
absolutely
outcome correct.
Hey, everybody give a hand clap for that right there, because she is the first also that looks like us, I believe, in that as well. So, we want to give some kudos to that, especially. But man, you took on another hat. So what's that like?
It's a lot of work, but I want to take things back a little bit.
Go ahead.
So back in 2020, I was, well, as you guys know, there was the protest that was going on, and I do want to say, and I'm not saying this with my administrator hat, but really just as a person, like the 2020 protests really flipped the University of Louisville almost upside down, but in a positive way, in that there's been even more effort in terms of trying to enhance diversity at the university. They were doing that before the protest, but there was just like an exponential growth in terms of diversity and inclusion efforts at the university after the protest.
So it became an actual priority after the protest.
Yeah, from the top down, from the president down to the deans, to the chairs. And so I'll try to explain some of this. So the former president, she developed this whole anti-racist movement to pretty much, make it very clear that the university is, taking major steps to, make things a lot better. And I'm not the only diversity administrator. There were several before me, and then there, continues to be others after me. So, for instance, there is Dr. Dwayne Compton, who's the Assistant Dean of Community Engagement and Diversity. You have some other, recently, the Faculty Affairs Office, they hired a Black brother as to be an assistant dean of faculty affairs, and everyone just has, and there are a lot of other people.
Yeah, Ricky Jones is still there, isn't he?
Huh?
Ricky Jones, Dr. Jones, Ricky Jones.
Yeah, he's there. I'm not sure. I know he's been on a mission in terms of educating and diversity from day one. But most of the people I've named, there are 2 campuses, or there are really 3 campuses, maybe more. But the campus I'm specifically talking about is like the health science campus.
Okay.
Where you have U of L hospital, you have clinicians, and then you also have researchers. So that's the campus that I'm primarily speaking of.
So go ahead.
Yeah, I know you may have a lot of questions.
Now I want you to finish what you was going with, the how the transition brought you into the position where you are.
So I think I was soft interviewed a couple years ago and really just kind of queried on like my ideas for improving diversity at the university. And then probably about a year later, there was an advertisement for the position of assistant dean of research diversity. And when I read the description, like every line, every word, I was like, that's what I do. This is kind of also what I'm called to do, to make a difference. And I think what really moved me to step into the role was, for 18 years, I've been the only Black woman within my department. In more recent years, we do have an African male. He started out in what they call a term track position, but has transitioned, I think, in the past 2 or 3 years into what we call a term track position. But just to be frank, I feel that, the African American experience, it is different. I don't care what you say, it is different than the African experience.
It is.
Here in the United States.
Correct.
So, yes, he can get counted as, an underrepresented individual, but his experience is not the same as my experience or, the African American experience here in this country.
Let me ask you, by being the first at U of L in any position, specifically where you are, is that a challenge? Is that a lot of weight on your shoulders? Because I'm sure in that position, you go in with, what can I do different that needs to change? That's going to create a catalyst into something totally different. I'm sure in your mind you have to say, I'm gonna do something totally different than what's been, because that's kind of why you was chosen, because I'm sure people felt like you was going to take this position to another level. Is that pressure? How does that feel being the first? And is that sort of like pressure? What you need to do to make a difference?
I don't feel any pressure. To be honest, I feel like most of the pressure came in between the time that I applied for the position and before I committed to an interview, because I was putting, I won't call it pressure, but I was doing like a lot of negative self-talk. And that almost cost me to not move forward with the position.
Okay.
So I know sometimes people like look at me, and that's why I say, like, no, I don't feel like I'm a superwoman, because there are some flaws, there are some
That's right.
imperfections, but I want to say that none of us are perfect. I am not perfect. Don't look at me as I am without flaws. But it is important, though, to make sure that you align yourself with people who just think the world of you. And so I made sure I put myself in the presence of my brother William, my sister Angela Jackson Brown. These are like tight people. They will have you, feeling like you could just conquer the world. So so yeah, you need some coaches, you need some champions, like you need people like they are just there for you 110%.
Yeah, and you're awesome. You're totally correct. I think when we was having the dinner party a couple of weeks ago, just hearing some other things that you were into. That's why I said, me and Joe was talking about, let's have you on the show, because you are doing a lot. And let me say about you, this thing about Superwoman, whatever the case may be. the way who you are and the way you are should be sort of the norm of people always trying to achieve to get better and better, regardless of what it is you're doing. You should always look at yourself and wake up and ask, what can you contribute to humanity? What can you do to make things better in your space and those around you? So in a sense, perfection doesn't mean that you are without flaws. Part of flaws that you have in your life is a part of perfection, because you can look at those flaws and correct them. This is what makes perfection, right? So you are perfect. If you can't see your flaws and don't have flaws, then maybe I would say you're not perfect, because everyone has flaws. Flaws are building characters to build you to your next level. I'm sure. Watching you grow, even after your close friend had passed, you still moving, you still growing. You have a cosmetic thing you're doing now that you are promoting. Is that a product you are? Is it just for product that you're doing just for close friends, or is it product you're getting ready to put out there on the market?
I know.
Hey, real quick. I want to get into that. Absolutely. Can we run a couple commercials real quick? And then I've got a quick 5-minute deal here with Bitcoin Campus. All right. And then we're going to bring on Dr. Akmal, but we're going to come back to you after we bring Dr. Akmal on, because he's in the backstage and he's listening, and I see him smiling and whatnot in the backstage. Y'all can't see it, but I can. And, he's enjoying this just the same. So we're going to run this all real quick and do this. Again, folks, remember, it is the Tipping Point Morning Show. So give us 1 second here. And bada bing, bada boom.
Hey folks, check out healthdaddywow.net. 100% plant-based herbs and supplements. Whether you're in person or online, use the word tipping for 10% off. Remember, feel better, look great, healthdaddywow.net. Remember, healthdaddywow.net.
Habibi Trading Company, home of soap, sticks, and Saya Baba products. Over 400 locations at a store near you. Cincinnati, Ohio, Louisville and Lexington, Kentucky, Southern Indiana, or find yours online at sayababa.com. Again, that's sayababa.com. Habibi Trading Company, where you can find fragrances to incite your senses.
Oh.
All right, folks. We are back. And real quick, I want to go ahead and bring on, let's see, I believe we're going to go ahead and grab Dr. Akmal. And Dr. Akmal, he is an absolute guest of an honorary continued guest of the show. Dr. Akmal, welcome once again to the Tipping Point Morning Show. I think I've lost my Bitcoin Campus folk, but just the same, we appreciate you coming in, sir. You've been back there listening, man, and I was able to kind of peek in and see your face smiling, man. How you doing there this morning?
You got your mute. You're muted.
All right. Well, good morning to everybody, and how y'all doing?
Awesome, brother.
I was back here listening, and learning, and so I Joe and John, I'd like to say that your intro is knocking them out the park.
Hey,
thank you.
We appreciate that, man. We appreciate that.
It's a nice piece. The production itself is a nice piece. Just looking at it this moment. My
thank
sister,
you.
I would like to say congratulations to you.
Thank you.
Now, not for the work that you've done per se, but for the work that you've been gifted to do.
Yes.
You see, because what you got is a gift, because, when we work for us, we build everybody. You see?
Yeah.
And so what I think, and this is just my thought, is that when we come here to make sure that balance happens for the energies that's in our lifetime.
Yes.
So I definitely congratulate you, my sister, on your next life journey, because that's what it is.
Yeah. In fact, y'all met before. I don't know if y'all remember each other.
I remember.
Okay. So back to the question to you, Miss Kids, about the cosmetics, the what you're doing with the cosmetic line now that you're doing for women. Tell us about that. Is that something you get ready to start packaging and putting it out there? Or is it something that you have to know you personally to get?
So I don't know if we're going to get back to the dean position. So I'll answer this question as long as we get back to the dean position.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Okay. So about 2 years ago, I started making body butter. And I know some people say, well, why are you making body butter? I don't know. It's just something that I've always wanted to do, but really didn't have the time to do it, or didn't make the time. And then the pandemic really afforded me the opportunity to just play in the kitchen, so to speak. And so my intent initially was just to literally give out free body butter to healthcare practitioners, because I knew they had to wash your hands a lot. And they also had to use a lot of hand sanitizer. And then from there, I found that other people wanted the body butter and they wanted to pay for it. And I was like, okay. I did have a chance to go to Senegal back in 2018. I saw how before they actually the people who go deep diving for the salt, the salt that we eat and put on our food, well, they would lather body butter on their bodies. And I was like, why are they doing that? And they were doing that so that when they would go into this really concentrated salt water, the body butter helped to protect their skin from the harshness of the salt. If you go into really salty water, it will cut your skin. So that got me to thinking oh my gosh, if we were able to put body butter on our skin, it would heal it and it would nourish our skin. Moving forward 2 years later, so I do sling or body butter here locally. I've sold it outside of Louisville, Kentucky. But I'm kind of in a rough spot right now, because I don't know what to do, because I've accepted this new position, and it's a little more challenging to keep that going. But my people who have supported me, they're not letting me stop, because they keep getting in my inbox. I need some body butter, and I can't say no. So
and that's where I think your strength is when it comes to that, because you have so much support. I mean, just sitting here right now, there's flowers that's just been thrown at you the whole time. So you got some support from some people out there that I'm sure would be honored to help you keep that going. And John is just so good when it comes to partnering with people in business. So I'm sure he could help you even.
I'm already thinking. I was already thinking.
That's why we rock together, bro. Because think about the ability to, because John's good at helping a person structure how they can create better relationships with people around them in order to move their product. So he does that very well with his business right now. And it's awesome. So I think that's a conversation that definitely needs to be had. And real quick, folks, I'm going to do something. We're doing a new quick segment. And this is just going to be a quick 5 minutes today, but we're going to be doing this every week where we're talking about cryptos. Okay, so I want to just switch it up real quick. We're going to do this, and we're going to add Brother Crypto Kenny of BitcoinCampus.org, who we have a fantastic relationship with. We had an awesome show with him last week. And Brother Crypto Kenny, what you got for us this week, family?
Well, yeah, thank you for that energy and that introduction. I mean, after all of that energy, I can't even come in with any low mood, so thank you. I was kind of like relaxed a little bit. Now I'm like, okay, I gotta bring it. But yeah, Joe, thank you for this incredible show. Brother John as well. You guys are doing some amazing things in the community, and I'm absolutely blessed to be a part of this movement in any way that I can to inspire the youth, inspire people that are already out there, especially individuals that want to learn cryptocurrency, right? So just tell us why
cryptocurrency is important, and real quick about Bitcoin Campus.
Fantastic. Okay, so we're in a world, a society right now where things are moving towards a digital age. Yeah. If you look at Facebook, there's the metaverse, there's NFTs, there's all of these talks about virtual reality and the dollar going down. So a lot of people are hearing about Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, and they're wanting to know more about it. How to circulate it, how to buy it, how to trade it, how to invest in it. And there's a lot of confusion out there, because it's so new that they're not really establishments out there, a lot of establishments out there that's just educating folks on exactly the process, how to buy it, how to sell it, how to send it, receive it, so on and so forth, and also the specific definitions of what they are. So what BitcoinCampus.org simply is just a resource center that has a community of people that are all doing the same things, learning about it, learning different areas, because there are many areas to generate wealth in cryptocurrency. It's not just one way as far as just buying and selling or trading. There's a lot of different ways. There's staking, there's farming, there's, the NFTs, there are interest-bearing platforms, there's smart contracts. There are a plethora of things in cryptocurrency that the average person just doesn't know if they're not plugged in. So what BitcoinCampus.org is like a community, like a college community almost, because it's just a group of people that want to get better in an educational aspect in a certain craft, right? You call that college to some degree. And these individuals are also sharing with each other what they're doing to have success. So we have 3 educational calls per week. We have a fully functional website that allows people to study their craft. We have a video library on there that has a lot of information on all of the different, terminology necessary to understand investing. And that's what it's about, just understanding what you're doing, educating yourself, and then being able to spread that word. So all of those elements are there. We have the programs, we have the people, we have the website. So after that is just, the energy that an individual decides to plug in, they can reach their goals through BitcoinCampus.org, and absolutely, along with what you guys are doing for the community, spreading that positivity and increasing, the mindset of the individuals out there.
Absolutely. We want to let everyone know that you can go to thetippingpointshow.com and you can click on our partners link, and you will find a link to Bitcoin Campus. Now, what just recently happened now, and just to let everybody know, it is a, if you can explain real quick, the lifetime memberships, the difference between the 25 and 180 real quick.
Yeah. Okay. Fantastic. So Bitcoin Campus is like a resource center. If you think of a resource center, think of it like maybe like a library card, some place that you can go to expand your knowledge. So we didn't want it to have an ongoing payment structure or a very high payment structure. So we did either a monthly membership that's either $25 a month for 1 year, or you could do $180 for a lifetime membership. But the membership for 1 year ends up being a lifetime membership after a year as well. So the 180, saves you maybe like, I think, what is it? $120
like,
$300,
I think.
300
if you do the 25.
Yeah.
Yep.
300 in comparison to 180, and both of them are lifetime memberships. We wanted to basically have somebody, it's almost like a stock. You buy into the company, and then you have it for life. You know what I mean? You can utilize it. We constantly upgrade the system. We constantly bring new people, new geniuses to the table. You guys are 2 geniuses that we now are working with. You know what I mean? Look at the notes.
Just to let you guys know, already, these are my notes from my one-on-one with Kenny yesterday. And that's one of the things that you get from Bitcoin Campus is there's consultants on there that you can actually hire. There are one-on-ones that you get for free. There is a Telegram group where you can post and comment and ask questions and things of that nature. There are calls all through the week. Folks, BitcoinCampus.org is absolutely amazing. Listen, if you want to save yourself some money, you want to get into this, because I'm learning stuff about nodes and all type of things that I've never even heard of before. And I've been trading Forex for a minute now. So these are things from the cryptocurrency side that's absolutely amazing. Go to thetippingpointshow.com, click on the partners link, and you will see the Bitcoin Campus logo with the Tipping Point logo on it as well. Kenny, you probably should go check that out because it looks dope. And go ahead and click that. And guess what, folks? It'll take you right to bitcoincampus.org, and it'll allow you to sign up. Now, just to let everyone know before we let you go, Kenny, yesterday I was able to acquire, I believe, a free lifetime membership that we can give away. All right. So with that in mind, to anyone who's watching, listening, Grand Rising, Ahamara Mathis, Mitch General, anyone who's watching, listening, if you share this show a minimum of 10 times, the person that shares the show the most, right? Minimum 10, share this show the most. And guess what? We will give you a free lifetime membership. What I want you to do when you share it, make sure you hashtag the Tipping Point Morning Show. Okay, when you share it, hashtag the Tipping Point Morning Show. And the person that shares it a minimum 10 times, shares it the most, guess what? You will get a free lifetime membership to Bitcoin Campus. All right. Either way, Crypto Kenny, it's been fantastic. We appreciate you, brother. Thank you for coming on. And we'll see you next week, or see one of the other people from the company next week. We appreciate you, fam.
Yeah, appreciate you guys too. Keep being amazing, gentlemen. Keep being amazing.
I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you, brother. All right. So we got the Doc back on, and everybody is in the room. And so without further ado, we're having such a great conversation. I know we definitely want to get to Dr. Akmal as well. So John, go ahead and kind of take it away. I know you got some questions. You're gonna move us in that right direction with where we want to go.
Well, I want to definitely go back to the Dean issue and really touch on that a little bit, because this is where the flowers come in. For this
absolutely
that people don't know, specifically here in Louisville. We need to know who's making moves in this city, and so she's one of them. And I think that conversations we were having at the dinner table. And by the way, Phyllis just was honored that you showed up. And so that conversation said, wow, this queen here has got so much going on. We need to really give her flowers and not let this just pass by. So definitely let's go into that Dean subject and the cape that you're wearing.
This?
That Superwoman cape.
So, I want to say that, this position, I want to make it clear that this position was not, I don't view it as a token position now.
Great.
I don't know what
Great.
the intention on the other side was. I deserve this position
Yes.
because I did the work. I co-direct a NIH funded R25 cancer education program, and I've done that for 10 years. And that program helps to professionally develop medical students and college students to pursue careers in cancer research. And I would say we have about 30% underrepresented individuals in that program. So I think that program, along with the individual level mentoring that I do of predominantly underrepresented individuals, for the span of the 18 years that I was at the University of Louisville, I think I just kind of got on the radar of the School of Medicine, for that work. So I just want that to be very clear. Then once I got the position, one of the priorities that I was told that I had was to help investigators get additional funding to support underrepresented minorities. Well, underrepresented individuals. I hate using the word minorities because I don't feel that we are minorities. Anyway. So I decided that that's fine. I'll do what they want me to do, but I felt a little uncomfortable because I didn't want my success to be totally contingent upon whether other people secured grants. So I took it upon myself to take advantage of an opportunity through the Kentucky Council on Post-Secondary Education. They offered a grant. I got the announcement on February 11th of 2022. The deadline was February 18th. And within that short period of time, I was with help or guidance from the chair of my department, was able to assemble a team. I took the lead position on drafting up the grant. A few of my team members, we went back and forth to edit the proposal to make sure it was responsive to the agency, and it was funded back March 8th of this year.
Awesome.
During that process, I know that, this position is not really about me, but it's about doing the will of God. Again, go serve the people. This grant that we have is a $200,000 grant. It's going to help provide mentoring positions for 10 incoming college students. This summer, the program will start June 13th and run until August 5th. They will have an opportunity to engage in cancer and health disparity research. And they will also receive college readiness opportunities. It's an internship. It's a paid internship. They'll receive $4,750. Plus some other perks. So yeah.
Man, absolutely. I mean, we all just sitting here clapping in the background, and it's amazing when you start talking about a $200,000 grant for this, because, to be honest, there's so much more money out there that should be given to this type of work. Like I just saw yesterday, Jeff Bezos' wife, just poured $275,000 into Planned Parenthood, and I'm thinking to myself, man, I'm just thinking about the motive, because what was said was, Black people deal with abortion the most, and this is for the minority, women, but you know, all that stuff, when, you know, there's so many other things that we could pour some of that money into, and what you're doing is an absolute amazing thing that more money should be poured into. So, but we wanted to make sure that we give you your flowers. That was exactly what we said at the dinner table. We want to give you your flowers now, because I mean, you keep moving. You keep moving up, you keep moving forward, you know, nothing's holding you back. So you're an example. You're like you're like what Susan Taylor was to young women growing up, from Essence Magazine, Susan B. Taylor. You are that to women today, you know, just an example of just, I mean, from just being a lady, you know, how you carry yourself in public. Folks, with just as manicured as she is right now sitting here is how she is in public, and she's funny in public as well. Just as she's funny here, she's funny in public as well, and she's an awesome person. So, you know, Doc, we really appreciate you coming on the show today, and I know we want to keep you here as long as you're willing to stay, as we continue the conversation just the same. So, John,
no doubt,
you go ahead.
We're getting ready to get into this health, and that's a field that where you are with this counsel research.
It's because of y'all that I made this juice this morning. I had to make sure we got 2 PhDs on the show today. So, you know, I juiced up all type of stuff. You know, I was just grabbing stuff. I was like, the doctor's gonna be on today. I got the juice.
But anyway, okay, so let's move to the next subject of health, spring cleansing, detoxing. We want to have this discussion with this brother, Dr. Akmal. And definitely we're going to want to talk about the women's health. We also probably want to do a show and bring this brother on, talk about men's health, because he's got a program coming up. He's also got a women program coming up. I think you got a program going on now, or getting ready to start up. But anyway, definitely, brother Akmal, welcome. And let's get into this thing about our health for this spring detox.
Well, you know, the first thing I'd like to do is, again, I'd like to congratulate you, my sister. You know, I'd like to say that, you know, all the blessings will go with you, because you got God on your side, and you know you doing what you came here to do. You know, so I appreciate you just for that, my dear. You know, so you know, we just stepped out of winter, which was hibernating. We were supposed to hibernate in the wintertime. You know, you're supposed to see in autumn, what happens is that you write a letter to your boss to say that you're going to get paid as you take the winter off so that you can hibernate, because that's what nature does. You see. So the piece of that now is that we should have been hibernating during winter, because of the factor that that's the time for us to go internal. Our body goes internal. Because as you said earlier, John, about this being this is actually the celestial new year. And so with that being the case, what are we looking at? We're looking at it, everything is changing. Every 180 days, the energy changes because a new season comes in. And within the compounds of that, our organs change. See, because our body is part of this earth, and so everything that happens on the earth happens in our body. Each one of your organs, for instance, represents an element of either wind, fire, you know, that kind of thing. You know, you're talking about cancer. We look at cancer as toxic heat, and when you have toxic heat, what happens is that it continues to explode, and that's what happens with cancer. When you start to look at the factor of us being in line with the elements of the universe, how that affects the cellular structure of our body. I'd ask this question. How many chemists are on this program listening to us right now? How many chemists? Raise, well, yeah, if I could see you raise your hand, you know what I'm saying? Why do I ask that question? I ask that question because of the fact that we have to understand that we are chemists.
Yes.
Everything we eat, everything we wear, everything we touch, everything that touches us, that's about chemistry. Women, and see, well, a woman would go down to the local place and buy some earrings from one of the vendors, because the earrings was nice. They fitted her, everything. She go home, she put them on, she go out, she do what she need to do. She come back and she noticed her earrings green. Okay. Why? Because the elements of the metal and her skin did not match. So now that's a chemical reaction. So when we do what I refer to as the elbow bends and the mouth flies open, what happens is that we begin to deal with the chemistry of the body. A glass of water that has the ability to change the composition of the body. Why? Because of the fact of the energy that's created. People who are eating sweets, why do you eat sweets? You eat sweets because of the fact that the energy that you're looking for in your body is not happening because of the fact that your body's suffering from malnutrition. That's the basis of cancer. Because
now that's interesting, because again, we have cancer research PhD Dr. LaCreiss Kid here. So one of the things that I had learned before, I used to do some little bit of wellness coaching before, and we would talk about the idea that a lot of cancer patients don't die from the cancer, they die from malnourishment. Right. So it's interesting that you speak to that, because and at those times, folks, when you're trying to comfort your loved one by giving them sweets and whatnot, and they're dying from cancer, because they're craving them more so, you try to give them some real food and it doesn't sit well, they throw up, this, that, and the other, or what have you. But it's having more to do with the cancer and what's going on in the body as to why they're craving the sweets, the sugar, and things of that nature, because cancer feeds on sugars, right?
Absolutely. I mean, when we look at it, from a traditional Chinese perspective, there's only two elements of the body. There's fire and there's water. And the balance of that is, how do we balance that fire and that water? For instance, when potassium is low, you wind up that the sodium becomes high. We talk about hypertension. That's the balance of chemistry. When you take that same energy and you apply it to what's happening in the universe, to our bodies and our cellular structure, you'll find that when we cleanse and detoxify and nourish the body during specific seasons, we find that we have less probability of having cancer. You see, now. So is
that in line with eating within the seasons, the right foods within the seasons, correct?
So let's go back to our ancestors. Our ancestors ate foods that were in season because they grew them. You got a lot of people who say, I got gluten intolerance. You don't. The problem is that we eat gluten at the wrong season. So if we're eating gluten fall and winter, well, that's its growing season. So the body isn't ready to break that wheat down and that gluten down in such a manner that it should. But if we start to eat that gluten now and we stop it at fall, what happens is that it processes different because of the way the seasons, the digestive tract. From my standpoint, the digestive tract is the most powerful element of our body. Why? Why is it the most powerful? It's the most powerful because of the fact that it extracts the nutrients and it removes the waste to assist the body in creating the cellular structure that is needed in order for the body to maintain homeostasis life. When we balance, see, what people don't realize is the fact that you can eat foods that are out of season. Okay. But what it does is it creates poison to the system because of the fact that the digestive tract isn't ready to deal with it in that manner. So it stores it. That's like in the wintertime, in the fall and the wintertime, we gain more what we call weight. But it's not weight, it's waste. That waste happens to deal with the factor of storing itself in the body in what we call the adipose tissue. So when you start looking at that in that manner, what are you looking at? What you're looking at is you're looking at the fact that if that waste is storing in the wintertime, fall and wintertime, and it's not burned off in the spring and the summertime, what's liable to happen? So we call them health disharmonies because of the fact that it's been building. When we get sick, and I mean, very sick, it's not that it happened yesterday.
Right.
But it's because of the fact that it's been building, because of the fact that we've not been doing what we need to maintain the balance of the body.
Right. Isn't feeling sick? Isn't feeling sick a form of the body doing a detox on its own?
In some cases, what it looks for is it looks when we're ill. What happens is that the body looks for specific nutrients to increase the immunity, so that the body will begin to function in such a way where it'll maintain life. That's like that green drink you're drinking. Well, the chlorophyll in it is going to proliferate the red blood cells, which now is going to assist the iron into getting into the hemoglobin, which now you have iron in your cell, in your red cell. So when you start to really look at it, you're looking at how that green, which is that chlorophyll, how that becomes energy to increase the value of your life.
Let me ask
when you said that, John, about sick and your body detox, it made me think about something. I have a great relationship with a chiropractor that used to be here in Louisville. He moved his practice out of state, but we still communicate. But one of the things that he used to always say in working with clients, as he would give adjustments, he would tell them that, listen, you may feel a little sick after this. Especially if it's your first time, and that's because as he's readjusting the bones and everything, then it releases toxins into the body, into the bloodstream that may make you feel sick. that the body is focused on getting rid of, you know. And so it's interesting that you brought that point to light, because like Dr. Akmal said, in some cases there is a point at which the body's detoxing that you could feel a bit sick or what have you.
But you know, the other thing is that when the body is ill, it'll let you know by several different ways. From, again, a Chinese perspective, you know, you're looking at the fact that your tongue, for instance, and I did a lecture on that. Your tongue tells your whole body, everything that's in your body. And each one of them organs is tied to a season. So now we're coming into the liver season. So John, I think it was John earlier that was saying, no, I think it was you, Joe, that was saying something about the bitters and the sours. And so that's the taste of this season, because that's the taste of the liver. So when you look at your tongue, on the left you have the liver, and on the right you have the gallbladder, right along the sides. So by you having that at that particular way, that's the topography of the tongue. So if it's protruding, then that tells you that you may have something going on with your liver. A crack, which now during this season, this is the season to balance the liver, because the liver provides over 500 different functions to the body. And with those functions, it also stores blood, and it allows for the nutrients to be in the blood. As it detoxifies the blood, there's a process it does called cytochrome P450. And cytochrome P450 has to do with its ability to detoxify waste, pesticides, herbicides, drugs, tobacco, smoke. It allows for the body to actually get rid of waste products. And by this being the spring, this is its peak season. For instance, this is the peak season for if you got hypertension. You know, you got gallbladder issues, a lot of headaches, because of the fact that this is the season where the liver is in control. I think you had a question, John.
Yeah, one of the things I wanted to talk about was foods. You mentioned about certain foods we should be eating during this period of wanting to detox, and then going into this, summer. What foods we need to stay away from, should be stayed away from, and what foods should we be taking in to continue to keep our bodies clean after the detox?
So when you detox and during this season, you would detoxify the liver. So you would eat foods like green vegetables, because they have a sour taste to them. Lemons, sauerkraut, those kinds of things. You would begin to eat foods that have green in color, because that's the color of nourishment. So you're gonna get that nourishment. That's like the green drink that Joe has. Now I don't know what else. I know there was a couple of things in there that Joe said was in there that I cringed on, because of the fact that you're talking about chemistry. And when you're talking about chemistry, you're talking about how well do these two elements match. Okay, and we have a tendency to throw all kinds of things in there. You know, the law of it is that vegetables go with vegetables and fruits go with fruits, and proteins don't go with starches. So you have so there's a balance of eating. One of the I in my travels have taken Japanese medicine as well as Chinese, and one of the things is that in both systems they look for a balance in how they eat. If you ever notice their plate, what's on their plate, it's not that stuff that they sell us, which is for us. But what they actually eat, it's a balance there because of the factor that they understand the factor of balance. So when we start looking at spring, this is the beginning of balance. So when you detoxify, you don't just detoxify the liver. You got to look at the gallbladder. The gallbladder, you want to make sure that the bile that the liver manufacture is able to help balance the cholesterol, because of the factor that this is the season when between now and the end of summer of the seasons where you would get rid of cholesterol, okay, and the bad cholesterol, because of the factor that now the body's warming up, so there's more movement about to happen. You got more energy beginning to happen, and so with you having that to happen, now what happens is things that stagnated during the fall and the winter start to begin to break out. This is the time to release them, you know, and that also goes for emotions. See, because we don't look at the factor that our emotions play a big part in how we feel and how our cells relate to each other. And so when you start looking at it in that manner, what you're looking at is how does an emotion deal with the cellular structure? See, because the emotion does. And so
let me ask you a quick question, Doc. I'm sorry to interrupt, but I want to point out something, because you allude to the Chinese perspective a lot, and you know there was a question out there that did the Chinese get their study and information from the Africans, or the Africans versus the Chinese? So there's a question in a sense, does he mean, from the African perspective, because the Chinese got it from the Africans? So I want you to kind of, because again, one thing we didn't do with you was to talk about your credentials.
Right.
And I want everybody to know that, because I do know that you are strong in some really African, Chinese, and Japanese studies. So real quick, if you can just kind of tell why you allude to that, so that as you go further and you hit that point again, that people will know and understand why.
Okay. So let me start here. So I have a PhD in nutrition, and my thesis was on diabetes. Okay. I'm a licensed certified acupuncturist, and I teach. I actually teach a lot of what I used to do as a clinician. I've been indoctrinated in the field of natural medicine since 1974. Okay, I've written 5 books. If you go to my website, you'll see the rest of things. I've lectured not only in this country but internationally. I've written articles internationally. I've trying to think, but I've worked to get to a point where I have credentials to back up my studies. Okay. And so I want people to know that.
Right.
The reason,
and just so you guys know, this isn't to brag or anything like that.
Right.
When I used to go to my chiropractor's office, he would do a doctor's report every Tuesday, and that doctor's report was about him telling everyone about his credentials and why it is really important to listen to him, because he focused on chiropractic work from a health and wellness perspective. You know, and I've seen someone walk out of his doctor's because what he would do is he would give this doctor's report, and then those that had been coming throughout the week for their first time, he would then one by one go over their case, you know, x-rays and talk to them about what was going on. And I seen somebody walk out that was dealing with back problems, and then they left, they went and got back surgery instead, and now they're paralyzed. You know, because the doctors punctured that sac that holds that liquid that the brain is in, and slowly but surely over a week's time that sac leaked and that person ended up paralyzed. Wow. So, you know, it is, you should know who your doctor is and what they have going on with their credentials, just the same. You know, I mean, you want to know whether your doctor, you know, got a B or an A, right? So you want to know how important, you know, you want to know about their credentials, what they've studied and stuff like that. So this isn't to brag. This is just to let you know why he can speak to the things that he does, just the same. And we are bringing back the amazing Dr. LaCreiss.
So when you're talking about Chinese medicine, explain that.
Oh yeah,
that you're really talking about.
Yeah. So
what preserves it?
If we understand the history of medicine, we have to go back to our ancestors in Africa, because that's where if you go back, you can read about, for instance, you can read about fibroid tumors. You can read about the factor of how the Egyptians, for instance, the Egyptians took water from the bird pond, oats, or no, barley, and beer to overcome diabetes. So our history of healing go back to Lucy, who National Geographic had to say was the first woman on the planet. Okay. So it goes back that far. However, in its transition, it got to China from East Africa. What they did, see, we're a person that he would teach me, I would teach you, you would teach him, and it would go back in the circle in our family. We didn't write it down. What the Asians did, they wrote it down. Okay, that's why there was a period where the Chinese were burning books. Okay, because they wrote it down and they constantly practice it. You see, the Nejiang Shu Wen, which is the oldest Chinese medical book that's still in existence. It talks about the people who lived by the sea, which was the Yellow River. They ate fish, had hypertension, and they were dark-skinned. Well, how did that change? The climate changed. Same thing with the Caucasians who went down the Caucasoid Mountains. So when you start looking at that, you got to look at that migration. And you can pull this information off the internet. So when I tell people about Chinese medicine, and I mention it so that people, and thank you, Joe, because you caught it. Okay, you caught it. And so, because at some point, if it wasn't caught, then what would happen is I would have talked about it.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Okay. But the piece of that is the fact that we have to understand that no matter what the medicine is that happens. What we find that it all came from that continent called Africa. and it's been turned around and pushed upside down and dropped and all of that kind of stuff. So when I talk about Chinese medicine, I talk about it as a Chinese medicine, which I give their honor for their cultivation, but with the understanding that it's about Africa. That's why things like acupuncture and herbs are good for us, because of the fact that in that content they're working within the compounds of our body and ourselves.
Exactly. I think, and I want to let Dr. LaCreiss ask the question. And I think when we look at all medicines, when we look at any healing properties, whether we're talking about Tai Chi, whether we're talking about Wing Chun, whether we're talking about Qi Kong, all these things are actually derived out of Africa, has been altered and changed, but the original came from the African mindset. Before the China, people think Tai Chi came from China. No, it didn't. People think martial arts came from China. No, it didn't.
No, it didn't.
It was already developed in Africa way before they had it. In fact, the original Chinese are us any damn way, because we the ones migrated there and before we came. So we got to understand that we carry that knowledge with us. And if you look at history, you will see signs of our presence there, even in the carvings and stuff that you will see in that land. Right.
Absolutely.
But, Dr. LaCreiss, did you have a question?
It wasn't really a question.
Okay.
Dr. Muwwakkil. That's a pretty name. So you had mentioned about the cytochrome P450s, and I studied those quite a bit at MIT when I worked on my doctorate in toxicology. And so you're right in terms of like the cytochrome P450s and how they can detoxify certain chemicals. So for instance, let's say 4-aminobiphenol, which you can find in high concentrations in cigarette. So yeah, your cytochrome P450s are going to come in there and detoxify those kinds of chemicals. However, chemicals like, let's say, heterocyclic aromatic amines, which you're going to find more in meat that has been cooked at high temperatures, like grilling or pan frying, those compounds are actually activated by cytochrome P450s. But, not to fret, the body, particularly the liver, is very smart, and it has some other enzymes like your glutathione, S-transferases that will add a group onto these activated compounds and then convert them to something that's less toxic. So the body will do things to protect itself, but to your point about the liver, and we want to help the body to detoxify. So I agree. I probably don't do it enough, but we need to definitely be on a regular schedule, whether that's weekly or seasonally, in terms of detoxifying our body. Why do we need to do that? Because we're constantly exposed to toxins through the air, the food we eat, the things we drink, even the water. And when those chemicals or toxins become accumulated in the body, number one, will overtax the liver, and then the liver will be distracted from its more important activities, and then there's going to be a decrease in our metabolism that causes us to gain weight. It causes excess of inflammation in the body that can lead to lots of disease, including diabetes, your area of expertise, as well as cancer. So yeah.
Let me ask you this question, Dr. LaCreiss, about cancer. Now, there's always been these talks about eating diets, a certain diet that can shrink cancer, or certain behavior, maybe of fasting. Have you found that in your study that doing a certain diet and or fasting can shrink cancer tumor?
I have heard. Is that me? I hear like an echo. I don't know how to get rid of that. But anyway, I have heard case studies in which, an individual was like had stage 4 cancer, and they were pretty much told that they would only have so many days to live. And so what they decided to do was to adapt a really rigorous diet where they became a strict vegetarian, and they were able to survive their cancer, and they lived for decades. And then there was this other guy that I came across on the YouTube channel where he was diagnosed with cancer, probably more like stage 3 cancer, and then he had the choice to take cancer treatment, but he opted not to. He too decided to make some really rigorous changes in his diet. Unfortunately, and a lot of that had to do with removing all elements of sugar from his diet, in terms of like essentially starving the tumor. Like the doctor said, and many of you guys, y'all have echoed it, that cancer, it thrives off of sugar. Yeah. So I mean, probably as a preventive element, like we need to watch what we eat. We need to make, and it's hard because a lot of our food is laced with sugar, whether we like it or not.
So is cancer actually curable through natural foods and herbs without having to use any chemical chemo?
I think it's possible, but the only thing that I will say is, unfortunately, most people they don't have the knowledge. They don't have the stamina to go through that.
Wow.
Yeah. If I can jump in here.
Go ahead.
So and exactly what you're saying, because it's a process. It's not like well, you have cancer today and you eat this and you don't have it tomorrow. It's definitely not like that, because you're talking about malnourishment of the cells. The foods that we eat, I don't care if you eat organic food, those foods is garbage, because of the fact that if we look at what's happening with the land, first off, okay. Second, if I'm a grower of organic food, and let's say I'm in Florida and you're in Louisville, Kentucky, and so I got to ship my food to Louisville, what happens? In order for me to make sure that it's on the shelf for 2 to 3 to 4 days, I got to pick it immature. You see? So that when it gets there to you, the issue gets to be, now, let's see how many days more we can get for the food.
So if you pick it immature, then it hasn't fully developed the nutrients from the soil.
Precisely. You see? The other part of that is, I look at the fact that, and I think I said it earlier, the power of the digestive tract. And you talked about that a little bit, Doc. You talked about that, because that's where all our nutrients come in. That's like, we don't think about our teeth. But if your back teeth, your molars are gone, you have a hard time chewing. So that means the foods that you're chewing is not breaking down to the molecules where the body can actually extract what is needed from it. So that means that now you're not going to get energy because of the fact that you're not getting the nutrients to fire up the organs.
And just real quick to your point, Doc, in this day and age, you know, I don't know who remembers this, but when we were kids, we were taught to chew like 32 times, right? And then swallow. And I think if anybody sits down and does it, I've done it plenty of times, you know, depending upon what you're eating, you know, it's probably should be more like, you know, 40, 50, you know, 60 times and then swallow. But, you know, the fact that people aren't doing just that simple thing right there adds to the lack of nutrient value they're getting when they're eating on a day-to-day basis anyway.
And see, you know, the point is that I'm not saying don't eat organic food. Okay. I'm saying be mindful of where it's coming from.
Okay.
Because if you eat organic food within 100 miles radius of where you live, what happens is that one, you get the energy from that area, because you got to understand about energy and how energy functions in the body. And two, you start to get the nutrients because they know that they're going to take it to the farmer's market down the street. So they let it ripen to its optimum, because they'll go back and whatever they sell now, they'll go back and get some more. And next week they'll come back, and next week. So you're getting fresher foods. The other piece is going back to the digestion is, and I wrote a small book on it, is food combining. You know, and if we understand the factor of, you know, the sister said, and she said it very elegantly about the sugar and the cancer, because that's like pouring diesel fuel on a fire. But the ironic piece of that is that we have sugar in our blood, glucose, and so with that piece in that manner, we have to look at the fact that how is the body extracting nutrients in order for the cells to maintain their rhythm. And when we start talking about the seasons throw it off. There were studies done that showed how metabolism changes each season. So every 180 days, your metabolism is changing.
So a person who's struggling with losing weight could actually have a problem with absorption of food.
Absolutely, that's what it is.
Yeah,
that's what it is. Because of the fact that, and Joe said it about chewing. We don't chew food; we gulp it. You know, you ever been at a banquet and the person sit the food down here for a person, and you on this side talking to somebody, and you look back over and that person's whole plate of food is gone, like they sucked it up like a vacuum cleaner. And then we drink and we eat at the same time.
Wow.
Okay.
My dad used to have me when I was a kid. He used to have us wait a half an hour.
That's right.
After dinner to drink. We couldn't drink while we were eating.
Because the enzymatic process. So you know, if you
give some people some action items, you know, I've done some nutrition success coaching, and you know, we want to leave our audience with some.
I mean, you know, one of the things is people should understand the factor of some things that they should do, like, you know, food combining, eating foods locally, okay, because of the factor that that's a major part of how we stay healthy. Okay, I mean, you know, like the things that you said you put into your smoothie. Well, you know, according to eating in combinations within the seasons, some of those things will not give you the nutrients because of the factor that they bind other things. Okay, so it's about and like I said earlier, it's about chemistry. And the piece of that is that the body's always trying to balance its chemistry. because when it's able to balance its chemistry, we stay healthy. But when it doesn't, okay, then what happens is then we have disharmonies we call sickness. And as an acupuncturist, and I've been doing this for close to 50 years, as an acupuncturist, we look at the body totally different. We look at how the energy flows through the body, how the body deals with, for instance, the energy of the change of the season because of the pulses change. Mm-hmm. You see, I mean, when we start looking at that, we have to look at the fact that what happens in digestion. In digestion, we look at the spleen opposed to the pancreas. We look at
and real quick, if anyone has like the Facebook page open on their computer as well, that's showing this live, then that could be where the echo may be coming from, because I am getting a little information from the audience saying to please check the echo. So if any of us do have that open, then let's close that, because that could be where some of the echo is coming from as well. But with that being said, go ahead, continue, Doc.
So you know, with the digestive tract, this is a good time to really create a balance for it. Why? Because you're eating green vegetables. You know, you're eating vegetables that have a sourness to it. And so as you eat those vegetables that have a sourness to it, what happens? What begins to happen is that they do what we call course the liver, which now gets the liver to function. It gets the cytochrome P450 to be able to extract the waste. Where in the wintertime, the kidneys are the organs of health at their peak. So the kidneys have to do with nourishing the body. The liver and the lungs have to do with the ability to get rid of waste. And so during this season, we should be eating green vegetables. You know, we should be eating cruciferous vegetables like kale and cauliflower, broccoli. Okay. Because of their antioxidant properties, you know, their properties of being able to go in and work to clean the cells, to help the cells to nourish themselves, because it's about nourishment. This is a season, as I said earlier, I was talking about wheat and gluten. This is the season when you would eat wheat and gluten.
Okay.
See, because what you're looking at is you're looking at the fact that now they're going to start to harvest it now. See, when we eat it in the wintertime, it's growing. So that's why it clogs us up. Mm-hmm. This is a season to also eat oranges. Because what the orange is going to do, the orange is going to help to break down any of the mucus from the winter.
Hmm. So let me ask a question, you know, real quick, because you know, my experience in health and wellness is very novice, right? So you know, I don't have any degrees or anything, but you know, we always talk about things boiling down to you, the individual, and studying yourself. You should be, in a sense, your first doctor, right? Mm-hmm. So you should be studying some things. You should be asking some questions. You should be noticing what's going on with your body. For me, when I look at, for instance, juicing, or especially when it comes to juicing in, let's say, a Vitamix machine, one of the things that I had looked at was the idea of rupturing the cell walls of the food, right? And the ability to rupture the cell walls of the food, in a sense, kind of you know, like the cucumber is no longer the cucumber in here. It is the nutritional value from the cucumber that's in here, combined with all the nutritional value of the other fruits and vegetables, now making, in a sense, a new ingredient where you are now just consuming, in a sense, well, with a traditional juicer, the sugar and the water, and a minute amount of fiber in that as well. Whereas, like, for instance, with a Vitamix, which that's considered like a whole foods juicer. So you still rupture the cell walls because you got enough power and speed with those blades spinning fast enough, exposing all that nutritional value, thus becoming a different ingredient full of just the nutrition and fiber, right? Slowly assimilating the sugars into the bloodstream. So for me, as a person that dealt with Crohn's disease, that was one of the first things, because again, this whole conversation, you know, digestion. This is like a main focal point when we start talking about all of these illnesses and things of that nature. What's going on in your gut is a kind of a preview to what's going to happen throughout the body. But with that in mind, then for me, that was my first relief in Crohn's disease, was the ability to take this whole foods juicing machine and put fruits and vegetables in there, turn it into this 100% bioavailable liquid that my body was able to absorb. And it's the first time I felt real relief. And as I continued to do it, my cravings changed. I started to crave more raw fruits and vegetables, which made it easier to continue to consume this bioavailable liquid. Thus, in a sense, now I'm doing more liquid than I was doing the solid foods, which allowed my intestinal tract to heal. Because with Crohn's disease, you're dealing with fistulas, you know, it's diverticulosis all combined. So with that in mind, it was the first thing that allowed it seemed like my digestive tract to heal from the inside out. So how does that play a part? You know, in a sense, how does technology, I guess in that case, is technology playing a part in this whole digestive everything that has everything to do with chronic illness, in a sense?
Did you want to say something, Doc? It seemed like you wanted to say something.
I like both of y'all to hit that one.
Let's have a conversation. Let's have a conversation.
You know, so we talk about leaving our audience, right, with things that they can do today. If there was one thing that I would want everyone listening to do, get yourself a Vitamix. And yes, it is expensive, but go on and save your coins. If Beyonce was coming here next week, y'all would get your Beyonce tickets. Right. Go on and treat yourself to a Vitamix. I used to get those $25 blenders, and I would burn them out after.
Yeah, right.
So you might as well just go and get the vitamins. Now,
that can be in combination. Don't worry about cost. You got 2 or 3 other friends that are in alignment with you, that want to do the same thing health and wellness wise as you. Guess what? Y'all put your money together. Here in Louisville, Kentucky, we got the Ben's Bargain. Hey, right across the bridge, I saw some. They were selling like 30 of them, and they were on sale. They were like $200 something. And if I had the money at the time, I'd have bought all of them and sold them back to y'all for $300. But and that still would have been cheaper than that $400 price, right? You can go on Craigslist. You can go on Facebook Marketplace and get them less expensive. There are people that go clean out the attics of their grandparents' home and sell this thing because they don't know the value of what it is. They don't know nothing about it. I have a silver one that is 50 years old that I can still take another blender and stick it inside there and blend that blender up with that old 50-year-old blender. So she is absolutely correct.
It's so I would recommend buying it new, because if it does break, then the way I understand it, like Vitamix, they will either fix it or replace it.
7-year top to bottom shipping included warranty.
It just has like it. But with that said, like, really, is it going to break? Probably not, unless you do something really, really ridiculous. it's going to last a lifetime. It's, you know, anyway. But what I want to say, like, I have chronic anemia, like literally my red blood cells, the doctor was talking about red blood cells, which are essential. They carry oxygen to every freaking cell in your body, thanks to the hemoglobin.
Right.
However, you have to, so anyway, yeah, my red blood cells, they don't reach maturity, or they have a tendency to just break down for no apparent reason.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I have found, and with that, I've had to undergo hospitalizations like crazy.
Mm-hmm.
But when I started juicing,
Mm-hmm.
like that, or using the Vitamix,
Mm-hmm.
like I don't have those problems anymore. Because when you drink your nutrition, it's going to get in your blood within 20 minutes.
Mm.
And you are going to feel it immediately. So the Vitamix, the second thing, like you must do, you have to get yourself a juicer.
Yeah.
And you can get a cheap one. Go and get yourself a Beach Hamilton or Hamilton Beach, whichever one is called.
But Champion is still out there.
Of course, Champion.
Hey, look,
I'm trying to get people actionable things.
Yeah.
Champion, yeah. Back in my day, that was like 2 years ago. Yeah, that's gonna cost you $200.
Yeah.
But Beach Hamilton, you'll be okay. The Vitamix, get your Beach Hamilton and start juicing every day.
Look, folks,
you, that will make a big difference.
If you just start, this is $8 from the thrift store, okay?
Yeah.
And I've had
and that's
this
the piece.
for
Right.
months, all right? And I've got another one at my other place. Folks, that other one was $9, okay? If you start there, like she says, it will do nothing but great things for you.
And then what's going to happen, like you're not going to crave the junk as much. In fact,
well, there's a way. There's a way. For instance, you know, one of the recipes is that you take a tablespoon of steel cut oats. You put it in an 8-ounce glass. You fill the 8-ounce glass with water. And you put a cover over it and sit it on the table overnight. And what will happen is the water will extract the nutrients out of the oats. One of them is chromium. And when you drink it, what that will do is that will then, and I'm using it from Chinese medicine, that will do is that will then begin to get the spleen, which likes sweetness. The spleen, it'll get the spleen to begin to rebalance itself. A lot of our issues is spleen related. That's why when you fasting, and as you're talking about juicing, that's why you have to change your foods, because when you change your foods with the seasons, for instance, when you juice in the fall and the wintertime, you're creating what is called dampness. Dampness has to do with the spleen. So that adds to the factor of people gaining what we call weight.
Mm-hmm.
When in the fall and the wintertime, when you put in damp foods or you juice, and in Chinese medicine, they say don't juice because of the fact that it damages the spleen. So when you do that in the fall and the wintertime, you add into it things like ginger, garlic. See, because you want that hot energy. As we move into spring, you want things in it that's going to enhance the blood. So you don't want to put anything in there except for green vegetables, because the greens have that magnesium element that allows and helps the iron to maintain its ability within the cell. So this is the time when you would do those. The other part of that is that when you do that, you know, if you're going, for instance, let's say that you're going to juice some greens tomorrow. So what's going to happen is that take them out the refrigerator the night before. Because when you introduce something cold to the digestive tract, it goes in that direction. That's why in the fall and the wintertime, you would put in something that has heat to it, so that it helps the digestive tract to continue to deal with that. The spring, because of the liver's energy during the spring, you start to put in cooling foods because summer's coming. Little spice, but not a lot. And you want to put in foods that are sour and bitter. Lemons, olive oil, endives, greens in general, because they have a bitterness to them. What that does is, as we talked earlier about cytochrome P450, what that does is that gets that detoxification rolling, because of the fact that the chlorophyll in the greens begin to help proliferate the cells. And
when you say chlorophyll, and you're talking about more oxygen in the bloodstream, right?
Question. That's what I'm talking about.
And again, folks, when you're talking about cleansing the bloodstream, one of the biggest issues is coagulated blood. People, I personally believe that, this is something that's known in the food and medical industry, which is why they say at certain ages, people have to get tested for, men have to get tested for this, women have to get tested for that, because they know, I believe that it's known that in the standard American diet, or the SAD program, in the standard American diet program, it takes such and such number of years for that diet, because we have these resilient bodies, right? These resilient, godly bodies. It takes those number of years for that standard diet to really take effect through that coagulated blood, which means a lack of oxygen, which means your organs start to break down because they're not getting the oxygen, including the brain, which means clarity now begins to dampen. And ultimately, everything that's being talked about here is alluding to your ability to cleanse the bloodstream, add more oxygen, have more clarity, and live a longer, more prosperous life.
Let me ask this question as we close out about the fasting. And of course, I'm in school right now. This is class for me. I got two powerful doctors in front of me. I'm actually in class, and it's very
and shout out to what's being said. Need to turn this episode into an ebook. I can't write fast enough.
Because here's the balance. We have a balance of whether we call natural healing or natural medicine, and then we have the allopathic side. Now, how do we combine them? When is it time to try a natural method, and when is it time that we should go ahead on and try the conventional method, or maybe surgery, or whatever the case may be, or some type of chemical healing? How do we balance the two? We got two doctors on here that's definitely on both sides of the field. How do we balance that when it comes to talking about people's health? And I noticed that even with talking with you, Dr. LaCreiss, you are definitely on the side with your study on the side of understanding natural healing, of health. And I know it's combined with how you feel that you didn't study that from the schools when you're talking about, but I'm loving this. How do we balance that? And when is it time to take maybe the pill or take some herbs? Was that too much of a loaded question?
No.
It is a loaded question, and the answer is probably even more loaded. So let me tell you a little more about my background. I was actually pre-med from high school through college. And then after I graduated from college, I went more in the research direction because I love asking questions and finding answers to those questions and positioning the doctors so that they can have more information to do what they do. So it's really hard. So, and a part of it goes back to the fact that, unfortunately, we have to be realistic. Unfortunately, and before I would say 80%, but I would say now 90% of the people are not going to even do the simple things that we're recommending right now, which is a damn thing.
That's right.
Let's just be honest.
Yes.
I mean, I hope because usually I'm like really nice and nice and pretty and all that stuff. But it's like, I just have to call it the way I see it. Maybe that would be enough to move some others in another direction. I really don't know.
Okay.
So, so let's say someone is diagnosed with cancer. So should they just, refuse treatment and just go down the path of just living righteously in terms of food? Maybe, but they have to make that decision. Should they merge both the healthy eating and conventional treatment? Maybe, but they would have to still work with a very knowledgeable doctor, because unfortunately there are some nutrients that can counteract the quote effectiveness of the drugs. Either sometimes certain nutrients can potentiate some of the toxic effects of the drug, or the reverse. It can make certain drugs less toxic. So it's very, very complicated. And unfortunately, there's not a lot of information about nutrients, I guess, in terms of their ability to interact or counteract with conventional drugs. And so, and doctors, most of them are not taught in terms of nutrition. They are lucky if they get 2 hours of nutrition training during their medical degree. So, and most doctors cannot advise their patients in terms of nutrition.
That's why they don't.
And so the patients aren't getting the information. They don't even know how to formulate a question to be able to get direction from that doctor. That's why it is our responsibility. Do your research, know your body, juice. And it's like, what am I supposed to juice? You know what? Go to Holistically Improve You, my group. There's like a whole nice, cute little menu.
And they can find that on Facebook and Instagram, right?
Please. No, they can go to, right now, let's just keep them in this platform. They can go to either the Holistically Improve You group or the page, and you will see the recipes there, the shopping list, everything. I started juicing, admittedly, now going on 3 years ago, and it's beautiful.
So when we talk about the spring, we have to talk about the foods of the spring. Folks can go on my website and extract forms of each season. Each season, and the foods, because of the fact that the first thing I tell people when they come to see me, and it doesn't matter what they come to see me for. And let me give the website. So it's healenearts.net.
Healing Arts.
And what I tell people, the first thing that I want to do for someone who has any kind of disharmony is help to correct their digestion. Because if we can correct digestion, then the minerals, the vitamins, the micronutrients that are needed for the body will then be able to be absorbed. And so, we have to also understand the synergisticness of the minerals that the body needs and how to get those in there. Like you talked about anemia. Well, when you start putting that chlorophyll in there, what will happen is you will see that that the cells begin to formulate in the manner that they should, so that the iron is there and the cell is in a state where it's going to nourish you. One of the reasons people eat sweets is because of the fact that they're suffering from malnutrition because their body's not getting what they need. That's why when you put things like chromium or chromium percolinate into the system, it automatically begins to get the pancreas to function in such a way where the pancreas now will break down the elements it needs in order for the insulin to be valued in the body in the manner that it should be. When we talk about it in Chinese medicine, we talk about it from the spleen, because the spleen's job is to actually break down the medicine, the molecules of the foods, so that the small intestine can absorb it. So one of the first things I tell people to do is to get some sort of probiotic, whether it's yogurt, and if it's yogurt, it should be plain yogurt, because the yogurt is in a container with this fruit which has sugar in it. So the yogurt's job is to rebalance the sugar so that you get the nutrients. I mean, that's what it does in the gut, in the small intestines. So you would get plain yogurt that is sour. You don't want no sugar in it. Or sauerkraut. And this is a season for sauerkraut.
Yeah.
Because of the factor that with sauerkraut, what now happens is that now the sauerkraut is the sourness of it is going to course the liver, as we call it, which means that it's going to get the energy of the liver moving. The bitterness and the fiber of the cabbage is going to move fecal matter through the large intestine, so that the bowels regulate in such a manner where they're getting rid of waste. A lot of our issue is the fact that we're full of too much waste. Dr. Sebi said something that was real key and crucial. He said we're full of too much mucus. And that's because of the fact that we don't understand how to eat foods. Each season, the foods change, just like the digestive tract changes. And so when you start to look at that, you look at the fact of how do you balance that? One of them is to deal with the factor of putting more probiotics in the small intestines. The other is the correct digestion. One of the things I have people to do is to get digestive enzymes, not papaya, but digestive enzymes, which now has amylase, protease, okay, which breaks down fats, which breaks down sugars, which breaks down starches, so that what you want to do is you want to be able to get that to happen in such a way. The other part of that is to begin to eat foods in their proper combination, because when you eat them in their proper combination, for instance, you eat a sandwich, well, and especially if you have some meat in it, well, the meat's the protein from that is going to be mostly broken down in the stomach, where the starch from that is going to start to break down from the mouth. So with that happening, the mouth now is trying to figure out what this is, and may not break down the starch in the manner that it should. So it starts to go down into the system. The protein in the stomach may recognize the protein in a manner to break it all down. It may not. So if it doesn't, then it gets into the small intestines, and the small intestines might tell it to take a ticket and go sit over in the room somewhere, and it'll call it. And so during all of that time, what happens? What begins to happen is that now you start to have issues with your abdomen, because now you have food in your abdomen that's not being absorbed. The nutrients of it's not being absorbed, and the waste is not being pushed out. So now your abdomen starts to swell. Not only does your abdomen start to swell, but you then find the fact that you become constipated, and then things start to grow because you got too much waste in your system. When you fast seasonally, what happens is, and using juices and the Vitamix, because the Vitamix keeps the fiber of it, keeps it moving. When you fast on just juices, what happens is that then you have to take either an enema or you have to get a colonic to get that bowel tract to move, because you want to get that, you're looking to get the waste out of your body. That's the reason for fasting. So when you do that, what happens is that now you actually shut down digestion because nothing's going through the digestive tract.
Right.
So as you take in herbs and you take in juices and water, the body begins to reassemble itself. Now, people who have serious illnesses, and one of them is diabetes, they shouldn't fast. Okay, and when people who are diabetic, I don't recommend to them that they should fast. What I recommend to them is that they should be eating green foods for a certain amount of days. Reduce the protein levels, and eat mostly green vegetables, because of the fact that that's going to help to build their blood again. When we don't chew our food, then the food has more chance of lodging itself in the small intestines. But if we begin to fast consistently, that's like each season I have a group of people that fast.
That's interesting. So let's close out by giving the information on the best way to fast. Is it 3 days, 7 days, and what should we do? Take herbs? What should a person do if they to best detox their body during this season right here?
So everybody's not a person who can fast. Okay. So in some cases you need to change your eating habit. I would suggest that you put in a lot of green vegetables, endives, leeks, garlic, because for instance, garlic itself kills parasites. Yes. Okay. In the small intestines that's been sitting in there because of the fact that the food is sitting in there too long. Make sure that your bowels are moving frequently, because food should go in and come out within 8 to 24 hours. Stay away from foods like cheese, dairy products, because they happen to bind us. The other thing is that as I said earlier, take digestive enzymes. With the fasting, what I tell people is that I make a suggestion about how long I think that they should fast, but I don't hold them to that, because I could say to you, okay, so you're gonna fast for 7 days, but you may get to day 3 and you like, I'm done. But he said that I had to go 7 days, so now that creates stress. So everybody should pick their own amount of time that they want to fast. Whether it's on herbs, I would not suggest water, strictly water, because when you start releasing chemicals from the toxins in your body, it needs something to hang on to, and water is not going to be enough. And water is not going to give you the nutrients that you need whilst you're not eating food, because you also have to think about the nutrients. Go ahead, my dear.
I agree with you. Like, if you're going to fast, a water fast, that's not going to cut it. But again, go to my page, Holistically Improve You, 10-day juice fast. Thank me later. And if you need a modification, this is my modification for you. Like, because I'm a breakfast person. If I don't have my breakfast, I'm going to die. So you can have your breakfast, then the bulk of the day go on in juice, and then have yourself a great dinner. And then get in my inbox and say, thank you, sis.
and so I
want to leave, brother, you are so brilliant, and you just have so much information. My only concern is that sometimes I think when we shower our people with so much information, then they do nothing. Nothing. So I don't know.
And that's why
go on the top of a building and say, everybody start juicing. We could literally change the whole health statistics in this state if we could get people to juice.
Hey, if you yelled that and hit them in the back of the head with whatever you got in your hand right there, that would definitely help make a difference as well. You know, that's pain, that association there. You know what I mean? But with that in mind, I'm trying to do 5 actionable items, right? So number 1, fasting to detox, right? Number 2, chew your foods 32 times minimum and swallow. I think that's an easy thing. I'm trying to do 5 easy, actionable things that people can do right now to help improve. Because number 1, just so you guys know, in the chat here, Facebook to YouTube, we did put both Dr. LaCreiss Kids Facebook Holistically You page, as well as Dr. Akmal's website. So that is another actionable item, is to go visit their groups and websites to check out, because Dr. Akmal does, I believe, like once a month, maybe even a free talk or what have you. You can sign up to that and jump in on that. Right. So now you're getting, info from yet another PhD for free once a month. Right. So you can sign up for that. When he talks about the diabetes and everything, he does talks on these where you can, pay a small, minute amount and get in on a valuable talk about these different issues, chronic diseases, things of that nature. Because, Kari was right. We might need to turn this into an ebook. We all 4 of us about to go into business together here in a second. Create an ebook and put it out there, man, because this is a lot of valuable information. So 5 actionable items. I got fasting to detox, 2, chew your foods, and 3, visit these websites.
A water, not water fast, but a water challenge where we drunk, I think it was 100 ounces of water a day. No, 80 ounces of water a day. And the people who did it, they really enjoyed it.
So another piece about that should go on that list is a method. Use it in my program. I use a method of getting folks to reduce their eating before they fast, so that you tell your body that that you're about to not to eat any food, because the body's going. If you just cold turkey and do that, your body's going to want food. But if you break it down, for instance, if you're going to do a 7-day fast, I always tell people 7 days before you start to fast, whether you're going to fast for 3 days or 20 days, you should begin to reduce the foods in your body daily, so that what happens is that the body is ready for you to take in nothing but fluids, so you don't shock the body, And then after the fast, let's say that you fast for 6 days. After the fast, what you do is you build yourself back up of eating food. You don't go on that 7th day. You don't go in and put in all the food in the world. But what you do is you might eat an apple, okay, and then continue to drink juices, because your body is used to them juices now. And so then the next day you might eat an apple and a half, because now you're building the digestive tract back up, so that the digestive tract understands that you're taking in food. But then again, when you start eating again, you now have to begin to eat in such a way where you have to really chew your food, because of the fact that your body's like, wow, what's happening here?
What's happening?
And so you have to chew your food, and then let's say that you did the six days. So on the 7th day of that you re-eating, then you could probably eat maybe a half a meal. because your digestive tract is ready now for the food to go into it. But then again, you should be eating foods in the season because of the fact that those are the foods that's going to give us the most nutrients we can get. And on that list that you're putting, I would say eat foods in the season.
Just put it on there.
Okay, because of the fact that, and I wrote a book on food for the season, and I wrote a book for food combining. Yes. And both of them are on my website.
One more question, Dr. Akmal, you got something coming up, I believe, for men's health.
That had passed. I've got a lecture that's going to be scheduled, and we're working on it now. Gotcha. For the end of April.
Gotcha.
On men's health. We got a program for women's health. That's ongoing. I think I sent you the flyer for that.
Okay.
We got that program going on, and I'm formulating. If people go check back at my website on Monday, they'll see the programs for April. Okay, that I'll post, so that what happens is that when April comes, people will be ready to roll into the programs. And one of the lectures is cleansing within the season through the art of fasting, and that's an hour-long lecture that leads into for people who are interested, leads into a whole course on how to go about fasting. Because people don't realize you just can't stop eating. I started fasting back in, I think it was 74, and I broke the fast not knowing. I broke the fast with pickled cauliflower and almonds. And did I have the worst gas in the world? And did I have belly pain that was out of this world?
Wow. Dr. LaCreiss, I think you got something coming up. Are you doing the Juneteenth again this year?
I know. I really have to. I need to meditate and figure out, because I've done so many things, and I have to figure out like what I'm gonna keep and what I'm gonna, have to push aside, because my role as the Assistant Dean of Research Diversity, it's full. It's full.
Wow.
But one thing that I do want to do, and I hope you guys will come, I typically have like an all-white affair. I think I'm going to do that again this year.
Okay.
I haven't done it in a few years, but it's such a special event, and it's just a way of just kind of like celebrating my life, my birthday, whatever. So I think I'm going to do that this year.
Okay.
So, I just want to say, this has been an absolutely amazing show. Man, love having the both of you on, and love having you on together. That was, absolutely amazing. I do want to ask one question though. Dr. Akmal, has anyone ever told you that you sound like, if I were to close my eyes, that you sound just a little bit like Bill Cosby?
No one's ever told me that.
Listen, hey, y'all need to go back and look at the video, close your eyes, and just listen, because you talk about some up north brothers there, and just listen.
I grew up in up south. I grew up in Massachusetts. But
you're in DC now, right?
Yeah, I'm in that area.
Okay. Because you got the jello, the pudding, I'm hearing it. Just like don't eat my jello pudding, you're gonna get cancer. So and every time I'm just hearing it the whole time. But man, this has just been absolutely fun. I love this. I mean, me and John talk about it all the time. How man, somebody want to drop $1 million and let us just do this we probably would, and just do this podcast damn near every day, because it's just so much fun having amazing people like yourselves on. Shout out to you once again, Dr. LaCreiss.
Yes.
Flowers all day long,
Yes.
you know, for
Yes.
just everything that you're doing,
Absolutely.
accomplishing, moving forward with. Dr. Akmal, man, we appreciate you for just being so open and just, you know, y'all don't even know it, but Dr. Akmal is actually 140 years old, but he only looks 40. You know, he only looks like he's in his 40s, man. You know, that's what's crazy about. Y'all saw him getting up and walking around and stuff like that. You know, I ain't never seen a 140-year-old man that looked like he's in his 40s do that. So that's absolutely awesome. You know, John, love rocking with you all the time. So what we're gonna do at this point, you know, I want to make sure once again, you guys shout out how people can get in contact with you, and then we're going to go ahead and you know, let you guys go. John and I are going to play some commercials and then close out the show. So real quick, Dr. LaCreiss, ladies first, please.
All the time.
Tell us how they can get in contact.
LaCreiss Kid, if you'd like to know more about the summer internship program for first-year college students for this fall, you can reach me at lacreiss.kid@louisville.edu. That's LACREIS.KIDD at louisville.edu. And if you need to reach me in this virtual space, Facebook is a good place, or Messenger.
Absolutely, absolutely. Dr. Akmal, please.
So I can be reached at info@HEALENARTS.net. Instagram, Facebook, and I don't know what's happening with Facebook. Facebook, you know, sometimes it let me in, sometimes it won't. So I don't.
We understand that one.
You know, so I don't know. You know, if you want to call, it's 301-249-2445. My webpage is www.HEALENARTS.net.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you both. Absolutely. And I want to just, because you guys do things, you know, digitally just the same, I want to make sure that you two also know that one of the people that we work with that helps us with digital flyers and things of that nature is it's in Incredible Custom.com. That's INKREDIBLE Custom.com. So right here, IncredibleCustom.com. You can text the word Inc to 678-506-7543. So when you guys see our digital flyers and things of that nature, then that's where it's coming from. Also, MediaJoy.org or MediaJoy.org. That is another one of our partners who teams up with us to help us digitally as well on social media and our website and stuff like that. So just wanted to put that out there so that you two hear it, because I know you're doing different things, events, stuff like that. And, you know, we'd love for you to utilize our partners as well for some of the things that you're doing. Once again, hand clap. We're going to see you guys again. Absolutely. Can't wait until we do something else again with you. Maybe we'll set up something very, very soon. So appreciate you both for coming in with us today.
Thank you.
Be well. Enjoy your life as you peacefully walk in health.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Joe and John. I really appreciate you guys.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you. All right, brother, man.
Yeah.
You know, the only thing to do is to really just close out, because it's, you know, that's a hard act to follow there. So I'm just going to go ahead and play a couple commercials, folks. We're going to get on out of here. John and I will wrap up here in 1 second there.
Hey folks, check out healthdaddywow.net. 100% plant-based herbs and supplements. Whether you're in person or online, use the word tipping for 10% off. Remember, feel better, look great, healthdaddywow.net. Remember, healthdaddywow.net.
Habibi Trading Company, home of soap, sticks, and Saya Baba products. Over 400 locations at a store near you. Cincinnati, Ohio, Louisville and Lexington, Kentucky, Southern Indiana, or find yours online at sayababa.com. Again, that's sayababa.com. Habibi Trading Company, where you can find fragrances to incite your senses.
And John, you're gonna have to tell me which one of these you like.
Habibi Trading Company, home of soap, sticks, and Saya Baba products. Over 400 locations at a store near you. Cincinnati, Ohio, Louisville and Lexington, Kentucky, Southern Indiana, or find yours online at sayababa.com. Again, that's sayababa.com. Habibi Trading Company, where you can find fragrances to incite your senses.
Awesome stuff there. Awesome stuff. Again, the second one had a couple more, word pop-ups and stuff like that. So we're going to play with it and get it right.
I love it,
man. Just give us a little something. Real quick, I'm gonna just say these 5 actionable items here. And I'll put it up on screen here just the same. Let's see. So 5 actionable items. Number 1, fasting to detox. Something you can start doing right now. When they talked about fasting, folks, and then even Dr. Akmal and Dr. LaCreiss, they both kind of alluded to the idea that, hey, it's difficult for people to just jump into doing something right away and carry that mission out. Because again, you haven't done it before, right? So you can't, I would agree. You can't just jump in and just say, all right, I'm gonna do a 10-day fast. There's ways to ease yourself into it. Dr. Akmal alluded to the idea of getting your body ready for different things. And there's ways to ease into it. So even if you started with a fast where you said, you know what, I'm normally every day I eat lunch, and today I'm not going to eat lunch instead, and I'll drink water in place of that lunch. Or normally I eat after 8 o'clock. Today I'm going to make sure that I eat my dinner before 8. There's small ways that you can ease yourself into fasting to detox, right? So you just kind of get a little closer and a little closer and a little closer each day to accomplishing that goal of a full fast, right? So number 2, chew your foods 32 times minimum and swallow, folks. If you actually pay attention to how many times you chew your foods, you're doing it definitely way less than 32 times. The whole idea is to chew, and then your saliva, mixing with that foods, making it easier to get down the intestinal tract, making it easier for your body to get whatever nutrients that may be in there into different parts of the body that need it, right? Number 3, visit these doctors' websites and pages. We definitely put it here in the, you can look up Holistically You on Facebook for Dr. LaCreiss Kid. I was actually able to just Google Holistically You, and her Facebook page was listed like 2 or 3 down. So very simple there. Just the same with Dr. Akmal, healingarts.net. That's HEALENARTS.net, right? So the 4th thing, add a little more raw greens to your diet daily, right? Would you agree that would be something good to do, John?
Every day. Yeah, every day. Every day is good to have some green food.
Absolutely. So add a little more, and I put in parentheses raw. You again, easing your way into it. If you can steam start out steaming some greens. You still keep some of the nutritional value there, and then slowly but surely, adding those greens in, folks. What is it? Traditional lettuce, that 99 cents, white lettuce, has absolutely no nutritional value other than water. It really does not have any nutritional value. So if you are going to do a salad or anything like that, you need to add some more of that raw spinach, drop in some raw kale and stuff like that. Hey, I'm gonna tell you what, a good saute, if you do it very quickly, we're not talking about turning this stuff into slime, but you do a quick little saute with some raw garlic and some kale and a little bit of Himalayan salt and some pepper. I'm telling you what, that's actually very tasty and a good way to ease yourself into getting more of the raw greens and that wonderful antibiotic like the garlic. Now, number 5, eat foods within season. And, we talked a lot about that today. Number 6, eat more raw fruits and veggies more often. Okay. Just get more of it into your diet every day as much as possible. Dr. Akmal said that eat an apple a day, and maybe the next day you can eat an apple and a half. Just ease your way into it. Good stuff. Go ahead, brother.
And a great way to ease yourself into a fast. This is something that I use. Like we talk about, let's say, for instance, you're going to do a 7-day fast, and how he talked about easing into it. So let me give you an example. So let's say, for instance, if you eat lunch, you eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner. You probably eating that regularly every day. And now you want to get into this fast. So your first day, you eat your breakfast like normal. Then you eat your lunch like normal. But then you juice for dinner. You don't eat any juice, or water, or juice. Drink your food. Number 1. So that's the first day. You're going to eat your breakfast, you're going to eat your lunch, but you're not going to eat dinner the first day. The next day, you eat your breakfast, but you don't eat your lunch and you don't eat your dinner. So when you eat your breakfast on day 2, you eat your breakfast, and then for lunch, you have a juice, and for dinner, you have a juice, right? On day 3, your morning, you juice, breakfast, you juice, lunch, you juice, dinner. Now, that's how you get into the fast. Now, coming out of it is sort of the same way, but backwards. If you coming out of it, you want to wake up, you want to juice, you want to you want to juice your lunch, and then for dinner, you want to eat food, but just a very little, because your stomach is going to be like, wait a minute, what's this shit here? We ain't used to this. We've been used to this liquid shit. So you want to eat slowly, chew your food good, and then the next day after you going back to your regular eating, you again do the same thing. You juice that morning, but this time you're gonna eat lunch, and you're gonna eat dinner, and then that next day, then you're eating breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and you're back again. So that's kind of how you go through that fast. You ease your way in and you ease your way out. But let me tell you about easing your way out. Don't ease your way out going back to the shitty eating food again. Okay, and we talked about using raw steel oats. We're actually me and Phyllis right now is using oats as we are doing it right now as we're talking. You soaking your oats overnight, you strain it, and you drink the water. And trust me, it's just water. You're not
and that and I want to speak to that real quick, because that is curbing your sweetness appetite, right? So you don't crave the sweetness as much.
Your craving for sweets will go away.
And Phyllis told us that some months ago on show. She posted that in the comments some months ago. So I definitely want to give shout out to her for that as well.
Yep. So that's the one of the best ways to detox. You can do some people may want to do some herbs. I just like doing juicing, and when I juice, I have a special formula that I put together. Maybe something that I may post and talk about on one of my Facebook pages. But the great way to do it, again, great attitude. Fixing your food with great attitude, first of all, because you got to have a great sense of humor when you cook it. And you never should eat excited. You should not eat if you're upset, you're mad, or depressed, because your food won't digest. You want to eat, you want to kind of have nothing on your mind but your food. and slowly. You shouldn't watch television, and shouldn't nothing allow your emotions to move while you're eating, because as you're taking on those new nutrients, those nutrients become what you're thinking. If you're depressed and your nutrients come in, you got depressed nutrients. Those cells are now depressed cells in your body. So you want to pay attention to how you eat, where your mindset is while you're eating, and where your mindset when you're cooking. And so cooking is very important. I was just talking to a sister the other day of how much money she's learned to save by cooking her own food opposed to eating restaurant food. So those are the tips for the health.
Absolutely. And just, to your point, as you are doing this, folks, your cravings will change.
Yes.
All right. You'll stop craving a lot of the garbage that you may now be eating. You'll start to crave more raw fruits and vegetables as you consume more raw fruits and vegetables. So just, like everybody said, just do it little by little, because that's the biggest thing. Dr. LaCreiss was right. With our people, sometimes, we just hear a bunch of stuff and then we we leave and don't do anything. But 5 actionable items right there. Folks, just, try it out little by little, and I promise you it'll make a big difference in your life. So, brother, it's been absolutely, we always say this, every show we're like, man, this is one of the most amazing shows ever. It's like, how does the next week gonna be? How can we top it? So with that in mind, folks, I just want to let everybody know, remember, thetippingpointshow.com. You can go check out past shows, different links, even you can click the live button there from the menu, and you'll see our show there from the website as well. So with that in mind, you want to comment, then you can always join us on Facebook at The Tipping Point Show. Actually, on Facebook, it's The Tipping Point Radio Show, and you can join us there to comment. You can jump in on YouTube at The Tipping Point Show as well. You can hashtag The Tipping Point Morning Show on YouTube. You'll find us right away. With that in mind, folks, it's been yet another episode, another week. We will see you again. We got a lot of new stuff coming down the pipeline. Don't forget as well, crypto with Crypto Kitty and the Bitcoin Campus. You can go to thetippingpointshow.com and click on our partners link, and you're going to start seeing more things like that. You want to join in and get involved. I'm anxious to see who has shared this post. Remember, if you share this link from the Tipping Point Show page, folks, just or anywhere you find it, share and hashtag the Tipping Point Morning Show. If you hashtag the Tipping Point Morning Show, then we'll be able to figure out who it is that has shared it the most. And remember, it's got to be a minimum of 10 times, and you will get a free lifetime membership to the Bitcoin Campus. All right.
Man,
so
again, isn't that awesome, man? This is awesome.
That is awesome. And and that was a relationship. We all just bonded real quick, and everybody got to feel each other's energy last week. And we was like, yo, we need to continue this relationship right here, because this is knowledge. And like I told y'all, I'm already in there with plenty of this knowledge and writing it down and taking notes and all of that stuff, because I'm trying to expand my portfolio just the same. So, with that being said, folks, again, until next week, we will see you once again right here, same place, same time on the Tipping Point Morning Show. Bro, John, I love you, family.
Peace, brother. Love you too, man.
Peace.
You are listening to The Tipping Point Show with your host, Mr. Just Ask Joe, John Yeah. Right here on WLOU. Stream it live on Facebook and WLOUonline.com. And now, The Tipping Point Show.